Illinois Corn Marketing Board.
WTIM.
Welcome back to the WTIM Morning Show on your information station. The show is sponsored by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm Reed Camion for Grayson Bauman this morning. You know, this week is National 4-H Week. So there are a lot of activities going on for those who are in 4-H and also anyone else who might be interested in joining 4-H, and allows folks to explore their passions and take part in a lot of fun activities. And here to talk about that and much more, I have Taylor Sinclair on the phone. She is the 4-H Youth Development Program Coordinator for the University of Illinois Extension. Taylor, thanks so much for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we are in the middle of 4-H week, and for listeners who may have been driving through town, they might have seen some decorations on some of the buildings around town, maybe the extension building or something like that. Taylor, why don't you tell our listeners a little about that, how it ties into the occasion?
Yeah, so kind of in honor of 4-H Week, October 1 is kind of our open enrollment time of the year. So like Sunday, some of the clubs would have participated in Sign Sunday. So maybe someone decorated a window. Sometimes the library is a really common place for like someone to set up like a bit of display to just kind of share their experiences, what they've done in 4-H, what 4-H is kind of, brought them, things like that.
So you talk about sharing some of those experiences through the decorations. So are these experiences like, fun personal projects? Is it anything to do with like farming or livestock? What is that sort of like?
Yeah, all of that. Like some kids, they have a much bigger passion whenever it comes to livestock. And sometimes too, sometimes people might get confused sometimes and think that 4-H is only kind of ag related, but 4-H is so much more than just ag. You can see people that might do crochet, macrame, photography, anything you think of, there's probably a project area for it.
And that's awesome that you're able to bring in people with a lot of different passions. What's the most maybe like unique or intriguing passion you've seen from working with the 4-H program?
You know what? I actually had one that was really different this year, that they were a new member. They kind of reached out, and they are wanting to do maple syrup tapping. So they're wanting to get the syrup from the tree. I don't really know the process super well myself because I've never done it, but they're going to get the syrup from the tree, and they are planning to make their own maple syrup. So that was really cool.
That is awesome. I am a big fan of maple syrup, and I'd love to taste that whenever it comes out.
So the same thing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, looking forward to that. And you mentioned earlier open enrollment, so I know you've got that period. I think you said it's going on right now. Is that the case?
Yes. Open enrollment is kind of from right about now. So October 1st is when that starts, and then it'll end around April 15th, just so that way we can kind of get things ready for fair time, and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's open enrollment right now. So it's open to anyone. 4-H age is 8 to 18, but there's also a Clover Bud age, which is kind of just like getting some of the younger kids just introduced to 4-H a little bit, so they just kind of get like a light little bit of love of 4-H, so it's not like too much in full capacity. So really you can join 4-H from age 5 to 18 as of your birthday as of September 1, 2025.
That is exciting stuff. So let's say I want to enroll. Well, pretend I'm not my current age, but how would I go about enrolling?
So the best thing to do would probably be just to call the extension office, and just let us know that you're interested in getting into 4-H, and then we'll kind of like have a conversation of just kind of what that looks like, get you guys a pack of information and help you get started, and there you go.
And what is that phone number for anyone who's listening and maybe wants to put in that call?
Yeah, that phone number you can call 217-287-7246.
All right, so there's the phone number for open enrollment, which, as you mentioned, runs through April 15th. Now, you've got a lot of fun events coming up. I want to start with one that's actually just a few days out. That is this Sunday, it looks like, in shooting sports, or at least more specifically archery. Why don't you tell our listeners about that?
Yes, so we have a 4-H shooting sports. We are combining this. We don't really have a leader in Christian County, so we've kind of combined this spin club to be offered. We have some leaders in Montgomery that they were open to more members and trying to provide the opportunity to the kids also in Christian of being able to let them be able to participate in an archery shooting sports club. So Christian and Montgomery are going to kind of combine and see if we can kind of get some kids in Christian interested in that.
So it looks like this is happening on, so I mentioned October 12th, but it looks like I'm seeing events also on the 26th and November 2nd and 9th. So is this a series for like someone to do all four, or is it just different times for the same class?
Yeah, so this is technically a spin club. They will also meet come like next year around like March, April-ish when it starts to warm back up again, just because obviously it's archery. So most of that kind of involves being outside a little bit. So their next meeting club dates is October 12th, October 26th, November 2nd, and November 9th. And then kind of if something changes, like the club will reach out and just kind of share like, hey, we're postponing a day. Maybe it's too cold this day. They push it back a week, that sort of thing. But yeah. And then to be able to get to be part of this 4-H club, you do have to be a 4-H member. So they would have to call the extension office and we can kind of get them started in Z Suite. And then they'd be able to attend those club meetings.
So that contact you were saying, so is that the open enrollment? Is it part of the open enrollment? Kind of what's that like?
Yeah, that's still part of like the open enrollment process. Technically, like they would still be able to join like whenever they'll start meeting again in like the spring season. But once those kind of meet up, they'd be able to enroll then again too. Yeah.
You know what I find lovely about this is, so you know, you're talking about all kinds of passions and clubs. I know we were talking before the interview. So and you were saying that this is something that, you know, you have this class, but then it can turn into, you know, involvement in a club and really developing that passion later on. That's what it seems like from what you've said.
Yeah, pretty much. And then I'll also share that we do have we had someone kind of reach out to us this year about starting an air rifle club. So we'll also be kind of adding to the 4-H shooting sports and adding the air rifle spin club to that. We don't have set dates for that yet, but if there is anybody that is interested in being part of that, or they have just an interest in air rifles and they'd like to learn more, maybe they're kids, you know, they're more than welcome to kind of call the office, give us their information, and then whenever like that opportunity of those dates are set, we can kind of share that with them, and they can even be part of that club.
And that's nice that you're able to do that. So instead of people having to kind of sit and wait for something to happen, you sort of do your part and keep an eye on those developments, and then people can take part. And I would think, you know, hearing about this, it seems like a great tactic to, you know, really bring in a lot of people, because I'm sure you'd love for the enrollment to be as much as it can be and as much as you can handle.
Yes, absolutely. The more opportunities, the merrier is what I always say.
That is exactly what you're doing here. I know you have a lot of other classes and sessions like this coming up as well, and we'll talk a little bit about that after this break. This is Taylor Sinclair that you're listening to on the other end of the line, and she is the 4-H Youth Development Program Coordinator for the University of Illinois Extension. And we're going to continue this conversation on the other side of this break right here on the WTIM Morning Show on your information station.
Your information station. WTIM.
Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn slightly lower, beans slightly lower, wheat slightly higher. December corn down half a penny, 421.5. March corn down 1 1/4, 436.5. May corn 444 3/4, down 1 1/2. November beans down a nickel, 1024.5. January beans down 3 3/4, 1040.5. March beans 1054, down 3 1/4. December wheat 510 up 2 3/4. March wheat up 1 1/2, 526 3/4. October bean meal 270 even, down 80 cents. October bean oil unchanged, 50.97. Livestock trade, October feeders up $1.37, 370.87. October live cattle 234.35, up half a dollar. October lean hogs 97.45, down 17 cents. Energy market, November crude oil 62.42, down 13 cents. This is the RFD.
When it comes to connecting with America's farmers and ranchers, nothing beats the authentic voice of Ag Radio. Farm broadcasters have been the voice of rural America since 1944, building trusted relationships with agricultural producers across generations. Today, the network of over 140 Ag radio stations reaches farmers and ranchers during their most productive hours when they're actively working their operations and making business decisions. What makes Ag Radio uniquely effective? Farmers listen to farm broadcasters for information that directly impacts their livelihood. When your message is delivered alongside crucial weather updates, market reports, and agricultural news, it receives the same attention and credibility. Farm Radio Connects offers agricultural advertisers targeted access to this engaged audience through professionals who understand both broadcasting and agriculture. According to the National Association of Farm Broadcasting, 78% of farmers consider information from farm broadcasters highly trustworthy. When you need to reach rural America effectively, choose the voices they already trust. Visit IllinoisFarmRadio.com and discover how Ag Radio can elevate your agricultural marketing strategy.
Attention all 4-H and FFA members, parents, and leaders. Your local Farm and Home Supply is proud to support 4-H and FFA dedication and hard work with an exclusive 10% discount on your purchases. 4-H and FFA members apply online for their discount card and have it signed by their local chapter coach or leader. Head to farmandhomesupply.com, click on the Discover tab, and celebrate the future of agriculture. Save today at your local Farm and Home Supply, 1160 East, 1500 North Road in Taylorville. Nobody else has it all like your local Farm and Home Supply.
Taylorville Care Center's personalized therapy program helps you get back to enjoying the season. Whether it's pumpkin patch visits, Friday night football, or autumn walks with the grandkids, we'll get you moving again. Click their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com to learn more.
I'm Brandy Bruley, Superintendent of Taylorville Schools, where we promote student success. At North School, we're renovating the former wrestling room into classrooms, a conference room, and storage. Find out more by clicking our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Go Tornadoes.
WTIM.
We are back on the WTIM Morning Show on your information station. It's brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm Reed Kamai, and I continue my conversation with Taylor Sinclair. And Taylor is the 4-H Youth Development Program Coordinator for the University of Illinois Extension. And this is 4-H week, so we've been talking about some of what's been going on with that. There are some classes going on that can later turn into new passions for 4-H members. And we're going to continue talking about some of those fascinating classes. Next up, I want to hear a little more about the 4-H Sewing Spin Club that you've got coming up in about a month's time. Taylor, why don't you lead our listeners through that?
Yeah, so this one is the leader for this club. She has been a leader for, I think, 45 to 50 years now. She taught my aunt to sew. She taught myself to sew. She's a huge sewing enthusiast. She does like a couple different, like even just adult clubs kind of around. But the first date for the Sewing Spin Club will start on November 16th from 2 to 3:30. This one will meet at the Extension office in Raymond. The cost for it is only $10. We'll have, it's all for ages 8 to 18. They'll kind of do like a variety of things. I think they're going to make a pillow for one of the days. They'll make a tote bag. They'll even get to make a table runner. I think they also make a pillowcase, and then kind of depending on time that's left over, she may add another project in there if some of the kids are flying through it. Just kind of depends on it, but yeah.
So I think those are some nice accessories to make, and they go well together. You mentioned the pillow and the pillowcase, so it all works hand in hand, which is really nice. Now this is a 4-H Sewing Spin Club. Now maybe you've discussed this before for listeners who have not heard. So this is a spin club. How is that sort of different from maybe some of the other clubs and activities that you folks run? Yeah.
So a spin club is kind of more of a focused club. So like this one is just focused on sewing. Like the archery spin club, that's also a spin club. Air spin club, those are like special interest clubs. Sometimes we used to have a horse club, just kind of a variety of things like that, of just like allowing kids, if they have a specific interest and they really want to focus on something in particular, they can do that.
No, that is a really good setup. Good to keep people involved in a certain activity. I did also want to clarify because I hear spin club, I think of riding stationary bikes at the gym. So just wanted to.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. That's part of why I wanted to differentiate that. But again, that is. She was talking about there the sewing spin club that's coming up in just a little bit, in about a month's time. We'll get to maybe one or two other clubs or workshops before we run out of time here. I know you want to talk about the pressed flowers on pumpkins workshop. This sounds interesting and very niche. Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for this one. This one is actually it's pretty quickly filling up. So basically, what it is you'll just get it's a plain white pumpkin, and then we press a bunch of flowers this summer, and they'll be able to use a Mod Podge and just kind of paint the pressed flowers onto the pumpkins. Learn a bit about pressed flowers, and how to preserve those. So yeah, I'm really excited for this one, actually.
It sounds exciting. You said paint the pressed flowers on. So is it like you're using paint to essentially stick the flower on?
So it's kind of, Mod Podge is more of like a glue, kind of. So it'll hold the flower on there, but also it'll put like a coating over it to where it won't be affected as much. Almost like a clear coat over it, kind of.
Clear coat. So it's like glossing almost.
Yes.
Glossing, man, I cannot wait to see those when they come out after you do that. That is exciting. And did you say when that's happening?
Yes, so this is actually next week. So this is October 15th from 6 to 7 o'clock there at the extension office. And it's completely free. So just sign up online, or you can call the office, and any of us can sign you up online. So.
Awesome. Well, there's another opportunity for 4-H members or anyone interested in getting involved. We got about 2 minutes left, maybe just enough time to talk about.
You don't have to be you're okay. You actually don't have to be a 4-H member to be able to participate in this workshop. So anybody is able to sign up for this workshop.
Nice. So that sort of widens the reach for it as well. Well, with a little under 2 minutes left, let's get to one more of these classes, Knot and Nurture. And Knot is spelled KNOT, like what you tie on your shoe. Talk a bit about that.
Yeah, so this actually goes along with our Taste of Extension event. This is on October 24th from 4:30 to 7 o'clock. So we call it Taste of Extension because it allows the people in the public to be able to see all of our different areas that we have. We have CED, we have youth development, we have nutrition and wellness, we have horticulture. But one of the events that I'm planning to do at it is I am planning to do a macrame plant hanger. And then with that, they'll also get to do a plant propagation workshop, to where they'll kind of get to do their own little plant. I think it's a spider plant that's going along with it. And they'll get to have a full, complete macrame plant hanger that they'll be able to make their own potted plant, learn a little bit about that, and get to take it home.
And I love that how at these events, both, what you do and with the other areas of the Uni of Illinois Extension, people make these foods or these crafts or whatever, and then they get to take it home. So it really feels like they get something out of it, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and it's completely free, and it's going to be just kind of walk up whenever. We definitely encourage people to kind of sign up and register online, just so that way they can secure their plant hanger. That way they get the color that they want and things like that. But yeah, there'll be a food truck there. I think it's Ed and Burgers. They'll be there, and there'll be kind of like I said, a couple different, like the Master Gardeners. They are planning to do some like pumpkin trivia. I think they're also planning to do like a pumpkin floral arrangement.
Nice.
From the sounds of it. Yeah.
Taylor, we are out of time. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
And you're listening to WTIM, your information station.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville. 96.1 FM Taylorville. 107.5